saw it.
Where? Pocket. All this time?
Yes. Isn't that romantic?
No, it's horrid.
Don't you like it?
Of course I don't. It's ridiculous. We won't be allowed. My patience, what would Meg say?
You're not to tell anyone, mind that.
I didn't promise.
That was understood, and I trusted you.
Well, I won't for the present, anyway, but I'm disgusted and wish you hadn't told me.
I thought you'd be pleased.
At the idea of anybody coming to take Meg away? No, thank you.
You'll feel better about it when somebody comes to take you away.
Oh, I'd like to see anyone try it,
cried Joe fiercely. So should I.
And Laurie chuckled at the idea. I don't think secrets agree with me. I feel rumpled up in my mind since you told me that,
said Joe rather ungratefully. Race down this hill with me and you'll be all right, suggested Laurie.
No one was in sight. The smooth road sloped invitingly before her, and finding the temptation irresistible, Joe darted away, soon leaving hat and comb behind her and scattering hairpins as she ran. Laurie reached the goal first, and was quite satisfied with the success of his treatment, for his Atalanta came panting up with flying hair, bright eyes, ruddy cheeks, and no signs of dissatisfaction in her face. I wish I was a horse, then I could run for miles in the splendid air and not lose my breath. It was capital, but see what a guy has made me. Go, pick up my things like a cherub as you are, said Joe, dropping down under a maple tree which was carpeting the bank with crimson leaves. Laurie leisurely departed to recover the lost property, and Joe bundled up her braids, hoping no one would pass by till she was tidy again. But someone did pass, and who should it be but Meg, looking particularly ladylike in her state and festival suit, for she had been making calls. "What in the world are you doing here?" she asked, regarding her disheveled sister with well-bred surprise. "Getting leaves," meekly answered Joe, sorting the rosy handful she had just whipped up.
"And hairpins,"
added Laurie, throwing half a dozen into Joe's lap.
"They grow on this road, Meg. So do combs and brown straw hats."
"You have been running, Joe. How could you? When will you stop such romping ways?" said Meg reprovingly, as she settled her cuffs and smoothed her hair, with which the wind had taken liberties. "Never till I'm stiff and old and have to use a crutch. Don't try to make me grow before my time, Meg. It's hard enough to have you change all of a sudden. Let me be a little girl as long as I can." As she spoke, Joe bent over the leaves to hide the trembling of her lips, for lately she had felt that Margaret was fast getting to be a woman, and Laurie's secret made her dread the separation which must surely come sometime, and now seemed very near. He saw the trouble in her face, and drew Meg's attention from it by asking quickly,
"Where have you been calling all so fine?"
"At the gardener's. Aunt Sally has been telling me all about Belmofat's wedding. It was very splendid, and they have gone to spend the winter in Paris. Just think how delightful this must be."
"Do you envy her, Meg?" said Laurie.
"I'm afraid I do." "I'm glad of it," muttered Joe, tying on her hat with a jerk. "Why?" asked Meg, looking surprised. "Because if you care much about riches, you will never go and marry a poor man," said Joe, frowning at Laurie, who was mutely warning her to mind what she said. "I shall never go and marry anyone," observed Meg, walking on with great dignity while the others followed, laughing, whispering, skipping stones, and behaving like children, as Meg said to herself, though she might have been tempted to join them if she had not had her best dress on. For a week or two Jo behaved so queerly that her sisters were quite bewildered. She rushed to the door when the postman rang, was rude to Mr. Brooke whenever they met, would sit looking at Meg with a woe-begone face, occasionally jumping up to shake and then to kiss her in a very mysterious manner. Laura and she were always making signs to one another and talking about spread eagles, till the girls declared they had both lost their wits. On a second Saturday, after Joe got out of the window, Meg, as she sat sewing at her window, was scandalized by the sight of Flora chasing Joe all over the garden and finally capturing her in Amy's bower. What went on there Meg could not see, but shrieks of laughter were heard, followed by the murmur of voices and the great flapping of newspapers. "Oh, what shall we do with that girl? She never will behave like a young lady," sighed Meg as she watched the race with a disapproving face. "I hope she won't. She is so funny and dear as she is," said Beth, who had never betrayed that she was a little hurt at Joe's having secrets with anyone but her. "It's very trying, but we can never make her comme il faut," added Amy, who sat making some new frills for herself with her curls tied up in a very becoming way, two agreeable things which made her feel unusually elegant and ladylike. In a few minutes Joe bounded in, laid herself on a sofa, and affected to read. "Have you anything interesting there?" asked Meg with condescension. "Nothing but a story. Won't amount to much, I guess," returned Joe, carefully keeping the name of the paper out of sight. "You'd better read it out loud. That will amuse us and keep you out of mischief," said Amy in her most grown-up tone. "What's the name?" asked Beth, wondering why Joe kept her face behind the sheet. "The Rival Painters." "That sounds well. Read it," said Meg. With a loud ahem and a long breath, Joe began to read very fast. The girls listened with interest, for the tale was romantic, somewhat pathetic, as most of the characters died in the end. "I like that about the splendid picture," was Amy's approving remark as Joe paused. "I prefer the lovering part. Viola and Angela are two of our favorite names. Isn't that queer?" said Meg, wiping her eyes, for the lovering part was tragical. "Who wrote it?" asked Beth, who had caught a glimpse of Joe's face. The reader suddenly sat up, cast away the paper, displaying a flushed countenance, and with a funny mixture of solemnity and excitement replied in a loud voice, "Your sister." "You?" cried Meg, dropping her work. "It's very good," said Amy critically. "I knew it. Oh, my Joe, I am so proud." And Beth ran to hug her sister and exult over the splendid success. Dear me, how delighted they were all were to be sure. How Meg wouldn't believe it till she saw the words Miss Josephine March actually printed in a paper. How graciously Amy criticized the artistic part of the story and offered hints for a sequel, which unfortunately couldn't be carried out as the hero and heroine were dead. How Beth got excited and skipped and sang with joy. How Hannah came in to exclaim, "Sakes alive, well, I never!" in great astonishment at that Joe's doings. How proud Mrs. March was when she knew it. How Joe laughed with tears in her eyes as she declared she might as well be a peacock and done with it, and how the spread eagle might be said to flap his wings triumphantly over the house of March, as the paper passed from hand to hand. "Tell us about it. When did it come? How much did you get for it? What will father say? Won't Laurie laugh?" cried the family all in one breath as they clustered about Joe, for these foolish, affectionate people made a jubilee of every little household joy. "Stop jabbering, girls, and I'll tell you everything," said Joe, wondering if Miss Burney felt any grander over her Evelina than she did over her Rival Painters. Having told how she disposed of her tales, Joe added, "And when I went to get my answer, the man said he liked them both, but didn't pay beginners, only let them print in his paper and notice the stories. It was good practice, he said, and when the beginners improved, anyone would pay. So I let him have the 2 stories, and today this was sent to me, and Laurie caught me with it and insisted on seeing it. So I let him, and he said it was good, and I shall write more, and he's going to get the next paid for, and I am so happy, for in time I may be able to support myself and help the girls." Joe's breath gave out here, and wrapping her head in the paper, She bedewed her little story with a few natural tears, for to be independent and earn the praise of those she loved were the dearest wishes of her heart, and they seemed to be the first step toward that happy end.